Joan and Co. Today we have Christine. Woo!
Oh, that was not the best hair whip. Hey guys. Hi. Okay, no, that was not natural. Hey guys, I'm Christine, and a lot of you guys might know me as Subini because that is my YouTube and gram handle. But yeah.
Oh, gram handle. Wow,
yeah.
You're so young.
I know, right?
Millennial talk. I feel like I could never say what I'm gonna talk about because I always go off tangent.
Same. I'm kind of like worried about this video because I feel like we're both the type of people when we're in a conversation, we're like all over the place. Yeah. So hopefully we'll do okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. But the general topic that we wanted to talk about is anxiety, depression, and how Korean entertainment changed us. So let's get straight into it.
Wow, that question in general just gave me anxiety. like I'm getting like sweaty in places, you know?
Have you ever dealt with anxiety and depression, and when did it all start?
I think for me, anxiety started when I came to Korea. I don't think I really realized it much, or maybe I did have like a little bit of anxiety growing up as a kid because I was kind of grown up in like a very strict household, so I would always have to just be kind of like on guard and just, I was very like cautious as a kid. But I feel like in Korea, after I came to Korea, it just became a little bit more like severe and worse, I think.
When did you move to Korea again?
I moved to Korea after high school, so that was 2012. Oh my God. Yes.
So young. Depression and anxiety both hit me when I was in college. So once I graduated high school and when I guess stepped into the real world, aka leaving my comfortable home, and then living somewhere else. And then when I moved to Korea, it got worse actually. Quick disclaimer before we get really in-depth with this topic. We're not professionals, we're not psychologists. We just wanted to share our experience because this is something that a lot of people wanted me to talk about on my channel.
Me as well too. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, a lot of people wanted me to talk about just like anxiety and depression. Just like even like this mental state of when you are in like the entertainment industry kind of. So
what came first, anxiety or depression for you?
I think anxiety definitely came first for me too. And as I said, for me, like anxiety came really bad, and I know you might realize it too. I still have it now, but it became so bad that like I would start to like pick at my thumb without myself even knowing. And yeah, it's just so bad. Or sometimes when I'm in situations where I can't like control and I start to panic, like she knows too. I'm like, uh-oh, like what are we supposed to do? I'm like, like, I don't know.
I catch her picking at her thumb and I just walk around Seoul like this. Like I hold her thumb like this because I don't want her to, it's purple.
Yeah, like
it's really bad.
Sometimes, yeah, it's like it becomes to a point where I don't know I'm doing it. So definitely people around me though, when they see it, they try to help me out. They're like, hey, like stop, you know, and then I'm like, okay, like I should just calm down a little bit. So
you need to get band-aids. Like stylish, hype-babe band-aids. Supreme band-aids. Yeah, no, but I could totally relate to that because I developed a clenching problem without noticing. Yeah, and then eventually that led to TMJ. So I feel like for both of us, anxiety made us do something physical and it shows on our bodies, if that makes sense. Yeah. So sad.
It is sad because I never thought that I would have to deal with that too. Right. You know? And you don't realize it sometimes until like somebody tells you about it and you're like, oh, it's like really bad.
But that's why I guess it's important to have people that will listen to you and just be there for you, I guess, because like when I found out other people have anxiety, and you know, when I found out that you pick on your thumb, I was like, oh, I'm not the only one who has like problems. Does that make sense?
Actually, even all of my friends too, when we get into like deep talks and we're talking about it, there are a lot of my friends who deal with anxiety and depression who are in the entertainment field, and you would never think that they do because on the outside they seem so happy and so just that they got their things together, you know?
Right.
It's not like that in real life.
I kind of like you though. I do think anxiety came to me first, and then eventually it went to depression. And for me, depression was when I moved to Korea, when I didn't have friends and family around with me, and I just felt so alone, and I felt hopeless and useless, and just this might get really dark, but I just didn't feel like there was a purpose in life, if that makes sense. And it was like a very dark time. But you went through depression too. I actually never knew you went through depression.
I went through depression. It was probably when I was in my company and I wasn't doing too well. Like there was a lot of problems within the company, and I think that a lot of people when they're in like the entertainment industry and they go into it thinking that expecting something and it doesn't go as planned, and it really kind of puts you in a place where like, what's happening and what did I just do and how am I supposed to like deal with it? And I feel like the worst part is like you start to like compare yourself to other people too, because I'm pretty sure for like YouTubers too, because when you're first starting, you're trying to grow your YouTube, but then there are gonna be people who might have started before you or who might be already like above, and then I feel like a lot of idols, they definitely start comparing themselves to different idols, and because there's so many idols, and it just feels really depressing. I think the most depressing part was when like at the end where like, you know, like the ending where like they announced the winner for like a music show. There's all these idols like behind, and like they're like trying to like, okay, like number one is like so and so. I feel like that is when you're just like, oh man, like will I ever like win like number one, or like will I ever, you know, be at the place that they are? And then I feel like a lot of idols in that like situation, you kind of like, but you have to be happy too, like you have to congratulate them. Like, not that I'm saying I'm bitter, but it's just like, oh, I wonder if I will ever be in that situation. So I feel like you get so many mixed emotions when you're like on stage too, because you're just like, oh, like hey, but then you're just like, oh, like,
because if you're not doing this, all K-pop will be like, oh, this specific idol was not congratulating this person. But you also have to take in mind that these people are constantly practicing for that one performance, and imagine how tired they are. After this show, they have probably another 방송 and back-to-back schedules, and I personally never went through it, but when I see you talking about it or you sharing stories, and when other people share stories around us, I'm just like, that's so unfair.
What's so unfair too is like it's really hard to go on a music show program. I know you guys might not know, but in order to go on a music show program, it takes a lot of people to put you onto the music show program. And you know, even going on it once is like a big deal for some people who have smaller companies, which was my, you know, personal like experience too. And I know it's just like, oh, like I was very kind of like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be in that spot. And I know, I think you get just a lot of mixed emotions while you are in the entertainment industry. Definitely. Because people treat you differently too. What you said earlier, like what you went through as an idol, it applies to being a YouTuber, but of course this applies to being a student too, because your classmates, you want to be the best and you want to get into the best college. So I think what we're sharing now could be in any scenario and job. It's just for Korean entertainment or entertainment in general, it's a lot harder because our lives are being shown on the internet. So we have to try our best to make sure that we have to have a filter. And I feel like nowadays I feel like I have to filter even like more, because I don't know, for me, starting with YouTube, when I was an idol, I didn't really look at the comments too much, and after I started YouTube, I was just thrown with a bunch of comments, good and bad. And then I feel like, oh my god, I was like, oh my god, there's so much attention on me. And then you start to read like bad comments as well, and you're like, oh, like that's not like my intention at all, and like that's really not it. But then at the same time, it's like, you know,
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
So when you were going through depression, what did you do specifically?
I think I tried to spend time with myself too. I know, and sometimes it could be really bad because once you start to put yourself by yourself, you can even start to think even more. But I do think that you need to basically put yourself out of the picture too, and then kind of just get in touch with yourself, do stuff that you really like to do. I feel like I started to, you know, find hobbies as well. I feel like that's really important because then you start to drive your energy and like your mind to different things and like a more positive direction. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people too, even in the entertainment industry, like some people will go, you know, work out. Like,
a lot of people work out.
Not even in the entertainment industry, but it's like they'll work out or, you know, they'll start to do like different classes. And definitely, I feel like you just need to keep yourself busy and just get in touch with things that you like to do.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Something I noticed that's different about Korea and America is I have a lot of friends in the States who have a therapist. And I feel like that's not very common here.
Yeah, in Korea, not gonna, to be really honest, they view like just like anxiety and depression, like the view on it is not that positive. And a lot of people at the same time, even if they want to search for help, they don't, because it goes on your record, and
which I think is so not. But I feel like it is getting better.
It is getting better, and also there have been a lot of celebrities who have come out with, you know, being honest about like having panic attacks. And I feel like actually in Korea it's called 공황장애. A lot of people are a little bit more open about that now because so many people in Korea do deal with it, and I do understand because people who are not used to, when you start a show, you have like so many cameras on you, and it's an environment that you're not used to, even YouTube as well. And I feel like a lot of people then start to like panic because you're like, oh my god, like I don't want to mess up, because once you mess up then you need to start like a whole recording over again.
And most of the time the producers, they're not very nice. They're really scary. And I remember right now I love the producers that I work with for radio, but in the beginning I didn't like some of them. They were just really mean. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
I mean, okay?
There are people, and for me too, I understand as well. Like I used to like mess up too when I'm, you know, when you're in front of, when you're by yourself and you're doing YouTube, like you can mess up as many times as you want. But then when you have like, you're recording a show, or even if it's like a live show, that's when like anxiety seriously hits me, because then you're like, oh, 죄송합니다, like I'm sorry, and then you start to like, your mental breaks down. And like I remember there used to be like a prompter, like, you know, on the camera. And
they complain to you on the thing.
Like they're like oh 좀 제대로 해주세요, like 좀 정신 차려주세요, and I'm just like,
and then you just lose everything.
And it just, I think it's like so hard, and which I respect so many like MCs and like also entertainers, because they are really professional about it, you know.
Let's talk about our first live 방송 experience.
Okay, my first 방송 experience. It was a music show, and I've never done a music show in my life. Like I didn't even know what the cameras are, and as you guys might know, like you do camera rehearsals, which means you know which cameras.
The name.
Yeah, like, you know, you know which cameras are gonna turn on.
Yeah.
And I got in so much trouble because I couldn't catch the camera, like the red lights that were turning on. It's so fast, but then if you think about it, you're singing, dancing, trying to find the camera, and moving around in the choreography that you have to do, and expressions as well. So it's like, so if you think about it like that, it's like people who are not good at multitasking, it is so hard. So I remember I couldn't catch any of the cameras, and then my manager and CEO was like, just look straight, don't even like try to find a camera, because once you try to find a camera too,
you just lose focus.
Yeah, like you could tell, like you know, you don't want to like be looking here while the camera's shooting you here. So I remember I got in so much trouble, and then after I just started to get like more used to it, and then I got better. But my first music show was a mess, a literal mess.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That sounds so stressful. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just dancing and singing, you have to
do expressions, moving around, and then you have to be like, oh, it's just so hard.
Being an idol is not easy. My first time doing radio, I was so confident going in, and then the moment the light turned red and it said on air, I like froze.
Yeah.
And then I will never listen to the first recording ever again. That can burn. Like I think like the archive, it stops saving. I mean, it erases as the new shows go on. But I was like, this just needs to like dig a hole and just like disappear. Because you have to keep talking when you do radio. And I remember it was really hard for me to jump into conversations because I didn't want to cut people off. Yeah. And then sometimes when there was a new guest and they didn't know how to talk, then I would have to keep talking. So that's why when I'm doing like collaborations with people too as well, some people aren't comfortable talking in front of the camera, so that's why with those people I tend to talk more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you keep on asking them questions or something like that. Yeah.
And then you just have to fill up this time, and basically my first show I like barely talked because I didn't know how to jump in.
Me too.
Yeah, and then I guess that is messing up the show because you know you have this new DJ and you're not talking, you're not doing any of the talking.
Yeah.
But Steve Hatherley, he was the first person that I've ever worked radio with, and he's been in the Korean radio and entertainment industry for a long time, since English broadcasting started in Korea.
Wow.
So he's a pro.
He's like the OG.
Yeah, everyone knows who he is, and I think I was really grateful that I got to learn under him, because now if I'm on radio, like I could talk.
No problem though. Yeah, because I followed her through radio a couple of times. I'm like, wow, she's really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, seriously though.
No, but it took so long. Like, what was my first radio show? I think my first radio show was 2015, and now it's 2019. It also helped me talk on YouTube, and that's why I feel more comfortable in talking. Right now it's not coming out though. That's why I feel like filming YouTube videos, it's kind of easy for me because I've been talking on radio like pretty much every single day. Yeah.
I think what was even harder for me though is like, you know how you talked in English? There was a lot of radio shows that I had to talk in Korean.
Really?
Yeah, and for me, my Korean is like not the best. I mean, I'm okay. But it's like, I just didn't know what to say, and then they were like, I don't know, it wasn't great.
Yeah. How do you feel now, like at this point in your life? How do you feel?
I'm not gonna lie, I still do have anxiety and like a little bit like
I always
attacks.
have to do this.
Yeah, here and there.
Hi Christine.
But I do think that I am surrounded by people who really do care for me and I could genuinely open up to. It is really hard to open up to a lot of people too, because in the entertainment industry, some people might be just befriending you just because you're famous or just because you've made it, and you know, you become to like not trust other people as much. And I'm pretty sure like you might know that too. So for me, I think I've really found people who actually do really genuinely care for me. And I think that's the most important thing, is to surround yourself with just like a positive energy, positive vibes.
Right. No, I 100% agree with you on that. That's why I go to America so often, because I want to see my friends. I'm not saying like the friends I have here are great, but I also really like meeting up with my college friends, and they like keep me humble. Like they're like, every time someone stops me in the street and I'm with my friends, they're like, what the heck? Like, who are you? And they like record me and like blast me on social media. But I'm like, oh, I love that. Because, you know, they're friends with me because of me. And I feel like in Korea, I did meet a lot of people who would befriend me because they want something. And I actually got hurt a lot, quite a few times actually, because of this. And now I know.
Well, they just wanted something else, you know? Yeah. Seriously.
Sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Joan and Co. Please subscribe to Christine. She's killing it right now. She started YouTube less than a year ago and she's almost at 100K, or by the time this video's up, you might already be at 100K.
Maybe.
Yeah, because she's growing so fast. But please subscribe to her. She has some great content, and I know that she works really hard on it. She learned how to edit and make thumbnails and everything all within this year, and I'm very proud of her. So
no, but I do want to say thank you so much. The reason why I was able to start and like take the first step too was because of you too. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.